Hello, you're watching VNA News and now headlines. Vietnam and Thailand seek sea border cooperation. International Roboton Festival opens in Ho Chi Minh City. ASEAN Economic Community, new impulse for regional investment. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng left Hanoi on November 29th for Paris to attend COP21 international climate talks. The President said Prime Minister Dũng at the event will demonstrate Vietnam's commitment to international efforts to cope with climate change. The Prime Minister will later pay working visits to Belgium and the European Union. He's scheduled to hold talks with Belgian Prime Minister Michel on ways to boost ties in trade, investment, transportation, aviation and aerospace. The Vietnamese government leader is expected to meet with the EC President, President of the European Council Donald Tusk, and President of the European Parliament Martin Schulz to chalk out measures for tighter cooperation in energy, green development and vocational training. Now moving on to other news. Vietnam-Thailand cooperation in managing marine environments and resources was the focus of discussion at the recent scientific workshop in Bangkok. The conference was attended by Vietnamese ambassador to Thailand Nguyễn Tất Thành and representatives from the Thai parliament. Vietnam and Thailand, both having long coastlines and sharing a border at sea, as well as being two out of the largest economies in the ASEAN community, had the shared responsibility of launching new cooperative models for marine resources and environment management in the interest of not only the two countries, but also the region as a whole. Papers presented at the workshop dealt with potential and challenges in the management of sea environment and natural resources of the two countries in the context of political, social, and economic changes in ASEAN and the role of international law in sea management. They also recommended solutions and measures for the two countries to maximize their interests in bilateral sea cooperation. On the occasion, a photo exhibition on Vietnam Sea and Islands was also opened, displaying hundreds of photos. The 6th International Roboton Festival opened in Ho Chi Minh City on November 29th. This is the second time Vietnam has hosted the event. The festival brings together 122 teams from elementary and secondary schools in Southeast Asia, including Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines and Vietnam. More than 360 students competed in robot contests on the theme of ecological conservation. Currently, we are trying to bring science education to schools. We are providing students with learning methods that are associated with scientific research and considered an effective way of working. With a different theme for every year, Roboton Festival is a popular playground for students in Southeast Asia, helping arouse their interest in science and technology and providing them with an opportunity to exchange with other regional students. Hoi An and Cù Lao Chàm beaches are seen as priceless tourism resources of the central province of Quảng Nam. Yet the situation is changing rapidly, with the province's tourism industry facing serious climate change impacts. Our reporters with the details.
Blessed with a 32-kilometer coast lining the tourism hotspots of Da Nang and the world's biosphere reserve Cù Lao Chàm, Hoi An Asian Town has many great advantages to spearhead the sea-based economy, including commercial tourism. However, in recent years, waves and currents are gradually eroding the beautiful beaches, leaving behind a deformed coastline. The once beautiful golden sand, now but a memory.
It is difficult to operate our services with the erosion condition. Tourists don't want to come to the beach and see barricades and blockages.
Mr. B's concern is also that of hundreds of tourism service companies. Quảng Nam province is determined to prioritize developing its sea and island tourism. As such, the industry will need to cope with its reality to maintain its growth momentum, all the while look for a solution to stop the coastal erosion.
We are currently encouraging the locals to foster the homestay model, because Cửa Đại has the advantage of having both sea and river. It will help stabilize their income and develop tourism.
Facing the constantly worsening situation, local government has invested in infrastructure to temporarily help prevent erosion in Hội An Beach. In order to thoroughly deal with the problem, the province is calling for assistance from scientists, both at home and abroad, to help assess the causes and put forth scientific solutions.
We need surveys and careful evaluation of the causes of coastal erosion, as well as offer suitable solutions to preserve the beautiful beaches. Based on thorough evaluation of factors related to the coastal erosion situation, we will come up with a long-term solution. Until then, tourism companies and locals will need to implement temporary fixes to slow down the erosion process.
Local officials say to make full use of and develop its sea and islands resources to build a strong tourism industry is Quảng Nam's task. They also said it is necessary for the province to introduce tourism products that are environmentally friendly and sustainable.
Vietnam's rice exports are likely to reach 6.8 million tons this year. The figures were revised from the 6.02 million ton forecast by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development.
Vietnam saw continual year-on-year decreases in rice exports during the first 10 months of 2015 and has just recorded a rise in November. The rebound is attributable to the country's signing of rice export contracts with the Philippines and Indonesia in October. The contracts, valid from October 2015 to March 2016, helped the rice export volume in October and November almost double that of the previous months. Vietnam shipped abroad 6.24 million tons of rice in the 11 months of 2015, up 3.6% from the same period last year. Between January and October, China was still the biggest rice buyer of Vietnam, accounting for more than 34% of the total exports. The rice volume destined for Malaysia climbed 2.24% to account for 8.7% of the exported, making the country Vietnam's third largest rice importer. Meanwhile, rice shipments to China's Hong Kong dropped 37%, the Philippines down 33%, Singapore down 35%, and the US down 26%.
Since its accession to ASEAN in 1995, Vietnam has actively integrated into the grouping's fields of cooperation. It, as a result, has become an attractive destination for ASEAN investors. When the economic community, one of the three major pillars of the ASEAN community, is established at the end of this year, the flows of investments from ASEAN to Vietnam and vice versa is expected to be easier. Boasting a strategic geographical location, young abundant labor forces and low labor costs, Vietnam always is one of the most attractive destinations for foreign investors, including those from ASEAN. According to the Foreign Investment Agency under the Ministry of Planning and Investment, by the end of September 2015, 8 ASEAN countries, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and the Philippines, had invested in Vietnam. Of the total, Singapore topped the list with 1,456 projects worth $33.45 billion out of 2,687 projects valued at $56.32 billion. A report released by World Bank office in Vietnam revealed that Vietnam is one of the countries with the consecutive highest economic growth of the past 2 decades. Economic activities in 2015 have continued to prosper thanks to an increase in industrial output and the recovery of the construction sector.
Building on these very strong fundamentals, it's important that a policy environment and the institutional environment is also conducive to support investment in Vietnam. And that includes both investment in physical infrastructure, roads, transportation. Into Vietnam, you already have Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia. So those are already countries that are investing in Vietnam at this point, and they know the strengths and weaknesses of the economy very well. And the deeper integration among ASEAN economies is further encouraging investment and trade.
However, Eckhart suggested that the government of Vietnam should continue to improve the business environment, simplify administrative procedures, and ensure fair competition among domestic and foreign enterprises. The country wants to draw more investments, especially the flow of capital from the ASEAN nations. At the Global Investment Forum held in Vietnam at the end of September, Prime Minister Nguyen Tân Dương stressed that Vietnam is actively and positively integrated into ASEAN, a dynamic market with a combined population of 652 million and gross domestic product of about $2.5 trillion. With a relatively high economic growth rate, it is expected that by 2030, the bloc's GDP will reach $10 trillion. The government leader added that to lure more foreign direct investment, Vietnam is making efforts to improve its market economy regulations, focusing on improving legal frameworks and administrative procedures, especially in improving human resource quality and developing infrastructure. The Law on Investment and the Law on Enterprise revised, which took effect on July 1, 2015, provided information on prohibited and conditional business sectors. They therefore act as a guideline for foreign investors who wish to invest in Vietnam. According to economic experts, Vietnam will attract selectively high value-added and quality, modern technology and environmentally friendly projects, as well as large-scale projects with competitive products that participate in global value chains of transnational companies. The country will also create good conditions for and strengthen connections among foreign invested enterprises, as well as between them and domestic ones. In the coming time, especially as Vietnam joins ASEAN Economic Community at the end of this year, the liberalization of trade, services, and investment will not only have built and enhanced foreign investors' trust in ASEAN, but also contribute to strengthening regional investment. A representative of the army-run telecom group Viettel said ASEAN is an attractive market, as ASEAN states have close economic ties with Vietnam. The group is investing in Cambodia and Laos. Of these, Cambodia is its largest market. At the freshly ended 27th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, leaders of the regional countries signed the 2015 Kuala Lumpur Declaration on the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community on December 31, 2015, in the witness of leaders from dialogue partners and the United Nations. The establishment of AEC will become a turning point, marking the comprehensive integration of Southeast Asian economies. Regional economic competitiveness will improve, making ASEAN a large potential market for foreign investors. And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.